In this podcast, we're going to explore in a little bit more detail what this circle of security means or looks like and what it means to be travelling around it. So, as in the last podcast, it would be really good to have a copy of the circle of security graphic there in front of you. So we'll use the idea of secure base as a starting point for taking a tour around this circle of security. We'll start with what we call the top half of the circle. When children feel safe and secure, their curiosity kicks in and they want to learn about the world. However, before they set off to explore, children need a sense that their parent is supporting their exploration. So see that support my exploration marked on the circle. Support my exploration is one of the two transitions needed on the circle. Even young children watch their parents very carefully to figure out what is safe and what is dangerous. Since they depend so much on their parents to protect them while they explore, young children also watch to see if their parents are paying attention to them for that protection. Young children don't actually think about this. Remember, they're wired to do this automatically. Over time, they remember what parents have indicated as safe and what is dangerous. Support for exploration is often a combination of the history that parents support for exploration, as well as an immediate cue of safety. With support from their parent, children head out for grand adventures. They may wander across the room or behind the couch. As they get older, they can travel farther and stay away longer. And here's one of the most important points. As they're exploring, children need their parent just as much as they do when they're in their parent's lap. Even though what children need from their parent changes as they travel around the circle, it's important to remember that children need their parent all the way around the circle. When the child is exploring, it's usually the parent's job to watch out for danger or be there in case something happens. That's the watch over me part on the circle. Although the parent may be barely aware of this, the child may seem preoccupied with play. If the parent becomes unavailable, the child's exploration ends. Sometimes children need more than having the parent watch over them. At these times, children might need help with exploring, so see that help me on the circle. This requires the caregiver to provide the necessary help without taking over. Children need just enough help to do it by themselves. This is called scaffolding and usually requires the parent to continue to follow the child's needs rather than taking charge. At other times, children simply want their caregiver to enjoy with them. See enjoy with me marked on the circle there. These shared moments provide children with a sense that the caregiver is attentive, available and attuned, and it also makes children feel that they are worthy of such attention. At all times, children need to know that no matter what they're doing, their parents find delight in them for no other reason than their simply being alive. Hence, during moments of exploration, moments that often have to do with building autonomy and mastery, our child will look back just to make sure the parent is delighted. See the delight in me there on the circle. This delight doesn't have to do with what I just did, but that I just am. Such moments do much to build a well-ingrained sense of self-worth in the child. When children have explored long enough or become tired, frightened or uncomfortable, they're no longer interested in exploring. Or if children get into an unsafe situation, parents might need to take charge and end the exploration. Either way, children suddenly have a new set of needs that require a response from their parent. We are now talking about the bottom half of the circle. Unless they're very frightened, the first thing children need on the bottom half of a circle is a sign from the parents that they're welcome to come back to that parent. This is welcome my coming to you, marked there on the circle. Like support for exploration, a child's sense that they are welcome to come back is a combination of a history of support as well as an immediate cue. Children sometimes cue their parents for protection. See protect me there on the circle. Providing protection from clear and immediate danger is a basic part of parenting that we clearly understand. However, children are sometimes frightened and need to be soothed even when, to the adult, there's no clear danger. Sometimes the child is not in danger but just needs comfort. And see comfort me there on the circle. Although most parents understand the idea of comfort, not all parents have experience of either comforting or being comforted, and so they might struggle to give comfort for their children. Sometimes children need help organising an internal experience that is overwhelming, and see organise my feelings there marked on the circle. Most parents understand that their children need help organising their external world or their behaviour, but for many parents it's a new idea that children need help organising their internal world. So children's need for internal organisation might come from being tired or hungry, disappointed, startled, sad, frustrated, all of these hard emotions. Whatever the cause, children need their parents' help because they're still too young to do it alone. So it's through the repeated process of parents helping their children organise internally that children learn how to manage these feelings both for themselves and in a relationship. Now, it's really interesting to note that most of us tend to feel more comfortable on one half of the circle and less comfortable on the other. So it's good to take a couple of minutes to kind of identify where it is that you sit. Do you find it easier to send your child out on the top half and more difficult to welcome them back? Or is it welcoming him back that you find easier while you find it harder to send them out on the top to explore? This doesn't mean that we don't actually do both of these things. It's just that for most people, we are more comfortable with one side of the circle than the other. So you might think of it as being more comfortable in supporting my child to be independent, or I feel much more comfortable when I'm needed and I need to comfort my child. Sometimes a point on the circle can activate us or push our internal buttons, telling us that something feels unsafe. The Circle of Security program calls this shark music. And just like in that Jaws movie, we hear that background music that marks an imminent catastrophe. Something terrible is about to happen. How do I prevent it? How do I protect myself? When your shark music plays, it drowns out your rational thought. You may become distressed or cut off, and it's really difficult to remain mindful and be with your baby during these difficult emotions. So if your shark music plays at a time when your baby needs you, it can be really difficult to meet her need, particularly in a sensitive way, while being bigger, stronger, wiser and kind. For some of us, our shark music plays on the top half of the circle, and for others it is more likely to play on the bottom half. For some it can get activated on both halves of the circle. In your own space and time, you might wonder where your shark music started and where it came from, and how long has it been playing. The idea here is to become aware of when your shark music plays and to hear it for what it is and find a way to remain calm enough to put your infant's needs first. An example of a top half difficulty might be something like you're out at a friend's place or maybe a playgroup and another child approaches your baby and you have this overwhelming urge to scoop your baby up and move them out of the way. Now notice it's called secure base, not the rescuing base. Babies need to know that they will remain safe and you're watching over them to help ensure that, even if from a distance. Now finding that balance between rescuing and acting as a haven of safety is a really tricky proposition. And so you need to play and experiment with it. Don't expect yourself to always get it right every time. The other thing is a self-awareness of your own history of relationships can be really helpful here. If you tend to be overprotective, be mindful of your usual pattern of response and help yourself to tolerate not stepping in and not rescuing because it makes you feel better. Try to take your cues from your baby. Ask yourself, does he need helping at this moment, or am I finding it hard to manage my own anxiety about what might happen to him? Do your best to support and develop his inherent curiosity and then foster this safe exploration. All right, I want to finish this week with some thoughts around a mutual delight. A foundation of love and trust is built upon the ability to delight in each other. Not just that admiring each other's achievements, but the delighting in just being us or who we are. Experiencing pleasure, joy and delight through mutual play and exploration provides warm and positive feelings for both of you. This reciprocal delight is connecting and the basis of forming any healthy relationship. Discovering each other through curiosity at the wonder of the world is an important component for babies to develop a positive sense of self. So the message I want to leave you with this week is to remember to delight in your baby. Take the time to notice what this feels like for yourself and how your baby responds to this delight. Now, these feelings of delight are not something new and something you've probably been experiencing all along with your baby. We've just really given a name to that feeling. It's those moments when you feel connected and literally fall in love or literally filled with delight about your baby. And they can come in all sorts of times. They can come in those quieter moments when you're feeding your baby and your eyes lock, or in those louder moments, more busy times when you're out playing and your eyes meet and you both laugh with delight. So remember, these are just those moments when it's just wonderful and delightful to be who we are. So as I said before, I'd love you just to notice those moments, notice how it feels for you, and notice how it feels for your baby. Have a great week.